Hey, Lisa Bracken here with video number 2 in a 3-part series of Get the Funk Out. In the last video, the first video, and if you haven't seen the first video, I'm really going to encourage you to just stop right here and go back and watch the first video, because even though I'm going to give you a little brief recap in this one, it's not going to do it justice, and you really need to go watch the first video. So go do that and then come back and join us. All right, great. So in the first video, I shared with you some common signs and symptoms of congestion. Just like feeling lethargic, feeling heavy, feeling a little thick around the midline, just the basic like malaise. We talked about AMA. I introduced you to the term AMA, A-M-A, and gave you that definition. It means, when it's translated literally, it means uncooked, undigested. You could refer to it as being unprocessed. AMA, from a Western perspective, refers to these undigested protein particles that bust out of the GI tract, cruise around through the bloodstream, looking for a spot to set up shop and wreak havoc. Nobody wants that. So we want to make sure that we're digesting optimally in order to stave off AMA, this toxic funk, this gunk, this sludge that inevitably will clog us up in some way, shape, or form. And we talked about comfort. We talked about reaching for comfort food, especially during times like we are in now with this pandemic. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to identify whether or not you are indeed hanging on to any of that toxic sludge that might be weighing you down. And first and foremost, I think the most obvious sign is weight gain. Putting on weight, feeling too heavy, having a sluggish digestion, food moving too slowly through the GI tract. Maybe it looks like mucus in your stool. There's just too much heaviness, too much thickness. So some things to be mindful of. Are you reaching for too much comfort food? Or maybe eating too much too late at night, too much too late in the day. Maybe consider allowing more time between your meals. Ultimately, 3 or 4 hours between meals would be terrific, giving your digestive system the best opportunity to complete its digestion process of the previous meal before you indulge in the next one. And also consider emotional eating. What is driving you to the fridge? What is driving you to the table? When we eat in a heightened emotional state, then we're in fight or flight. And when the nervous system is in fight or flight, it's going to hit the pause button on our digestion, and it's going to send energy to large muscle groups and other areas of the body. Also, when we're in a state of fight or flight, our nervous system goes into insulation mode. Need I say more? Insulation, weight gain, one and the same. Second, I would ask you to take a look at your skin and notice if you have skin disruptions. Acne is the first one that comes to mind. In Ayurvedic medicine, we look at the skin as a reflection of the blood, and the blood as a reflection of the liver. So, when there are skin disruptions, acne, eczema, rashes, hives, skin tags, these are all tangible, visible signs that we're congested, we're thick, we're heavy, we're like overtaxed and overburdened, primarily in our liver. Lastly, the third area where I want you to identify whether or not you're holding on to any toxic funk is on your tongue. So every morning when you wake up, before you brush your teeth, before you reach for that first cup of water or cup of coffee, I want you to stick your tongue out. Take a good look at your tongue. I want you to look for 3 things. You're going to look for the color. Almost everybody has a coating on their tongue, so just know that. What color is that coating? It might be whitish. It might be categorized as yellowish. It might be categorized as brown or gray. So just identify the coating, the color of the coating. Second, identify where it is on your tongue. Does it cover the entire tongue? Is it just in the middle? Is it more towards the back of your tongue? This tells us something about where the funk is in your digestive tract. Lastly, I want you to identify the thickness of the coating on your tongue, just on a scale of 1 to 3. 3 is like you have shag carpet in your mouth. So on a scale of 1 to 3. How thick is it? Thickness, color of the coating, and location of the coating. Once you've identified those 3 aspects of your tongue in the morning, grab your tongue scraper. And if you don't have a tongue scraper, you need to get yourself a tongue scraper. Stick your tongue out, I turn my hot water on my sink, and then take the tongue scraper about 2/3 of the way back on your tongue, scrape, rinse, scrape, rinse, scrape, rinse. You will not leave home without your tongue scraper once you start using it. It is a game changer. Okay, so there you go. 3 ways in which you can identify whether you're hanging on to uncooked funk in your system, weight gain, pretty obvious, skin conditions, skin disruptions, and what's going on in your tongue. Look at it every single day. Okay, stay tuned because I've got one more video coming, and that's going to be released in just a couple of days. And then this last final third video, we're going to talk about some deeper ways that you can dive into clearing AMA from your system, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. We're going to identify it, we're going to call it what it is, and we're going to work on getting it out. So thanks for joining me. See you in a couple of days.